I did not think I would have to end up making an update video 2 years later, and here I am. Jesus fucking Christ.
2 years ago in January 2023, I posted a video that was essentially a victim impact statement and eyewitness testimony regarding my experiences with Roszina Head.
And someone apparently commented that they used to go to college with her, and she apparently had an awful reputation. I'm actually out, like, I was interested in hearing more. And this guy, and the amount of stories this guy had to tell me very much exceeded my expectations. So, like, if this is someone that used to go to college with her, I can only imagine, what is this? Like, okay, so I'm gonna look through these comments, and for you guys, what I want you guys to do next is completely throw out any expectations you had of what these stories are gonna be about. I'm being serious, so if you guys have any, like, food that's, like, being made, what I want you to do is stop what you're doing now, take the food and prepare it, and then come back, and then you're gonna be really, really entertained or perturbed with what's gonna happen next. Okay, fuck it, I'm gonna read it. I used to go to college with Roszina, and she had an awful reputation. Genuinely a mid-human if I've ever met one. Every now and then, me and my friends look her name up to find out what happened to her. Not surprised her life went this way. And I responded by saying, yikes, I bet she was a real piece of work in college, eh? Tell me more stories about her. I'm interested in knowing more. And he responded saying, oh, I've got thousands. Everything ranging from insignificant little tales to her doxing people for no reason and giving one of our teachers a mental breakdown. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Shit's about to get really juicy. Alright, let's do this. I'll start from the relative beginning. So back in 2018 or 2019, I used to hang out with my first friend group from college, and that's when we first ran into her. She wasn't one of our friends, but she hung around the student comment room a lot, and that was kind of our turf. We were one of the largest friend groups in Colossal. There was always at least one of us in there at any given time. She would constantly spurg out about Astro Boy and Splatoon, and was generally the kind of unpleasant to be around. One of the oldest stories I can remember about her was her trying to steal my friend's phone. There used to be this table next to a bunch of plug sockets, and everyone used to just plug their phone in and not bother watching it because we were all pretty chill. So one day Roszina notices this and just walks over, unplugs my friend's phone, and walks off with it. My friend notices this and walks over to confront her before she can leave the room. She tells Roszina to give her back her phone, and she has a hard tantrum and says it's her phone and walks off. My friend then gets a teacher to come and meditate. Oh my god. Okay, so from reading this one, it sounds like Roszina Head was pretty much entitled. So then a teacher comes in to mediate the situation. I wonder what happens next. She tells the teacher what happens, and the teacher tells Roszina to give back the phone. She says it's hers, so my friend, she can prove the phone is hers because the lock screen is a picture hood of her lying on her boyfriend's chest. Now my friend and Roszina look nothing alike, and it's really obviously my friend in the picture, but even after all this, she still tries to say the phone is hers, and that it's a picture of her with her boyfriend. She didn't have one at the time. She had a full-on tantrum when the teacher took the phone off her and actively despised my friend for the rest of her time at the college. We also started guarding our phones after them because we couldn't trust her. Jumping ahead a bit, I ended up in the same class as her. There's a few more stories in between, but I'd have to talk with my friends to get the proper details. Anyway, we're in the same class, level 2 creative media and game design. It was a shit class, but what made it worse was her constant spurgisms. We would start the day not even 9 a.m. and yet every single day, without fail, she'd talk about how she does fan art and she likes animation and she's been working on a fan film for 5 years, over and over, every day. It would be the same thing. She'd show us the same clip over and over and over again, and it really got to me as the person that sat closest to her. I was constantly harassed, and I can remember with crystal clarity the day I committed the ultimate sin of asking her to leave me alone. We just started the first class of the day, and once again, she was telling me she worked on a fan film and if I'd like to see it. In response, I told her I didn't, and I asked her really politely to leave me alone because we were in Mike's class and he really coddled her, and I didn't want to be told off if he thought I was being mean to her. Despite this, her face looked like thunder. It was like I'd given her the greatest possible insult, which, looking back on it, I probably did, and clearly she needed retribution. After leaving this, I was filled with genuine primal rage. I had never really interacted with her or actually cared enough about her to do anything other than tell her to leave me alone. So naturally that day, I cornered her in college and proceeded to vent my frustration by screaming at her for a good 5 to 10 minutes about how I didn't do shit to her. I didn't care enough about her to troll her, and if she ever doxed me again, I would show my wrath and fury like she'd never seen before. Needless to say, my full name and personal information quickly disappeared off the internet, but that day sort of awoke something in me. I knew she wasn't a good person before, but if I was gonna get the shit for trolling, then trolling was what I was gonna do. So this person just wants to have their boundaries respected, and Roszina's response to that is by leaking their personal information? Like, what? Like, what the fuck am I reading? Like, no, seriously. Like, this person just wants to be left alone. Like, this person just wants their boundaries to be respected. And then her response is to just leak her personal information on the internet. Seriously, what the fuck am I reading? Like, I'm actually getting angry. I'm actually getting angry from reading this. Her response to that is so unfathomably stupid. Oh my god. Okay, let's continue. At first, we just used to wind her up very quickly. Everyone else got fed up with her. I remember one time in Steve's class, we kept on searching stuff, changing the background on her computer, and writing stupid sentences on her Word document whenever she'd walk away from the computer, and she genuinely started shouting at all of us. However, every single person in the class had gotten sick of her shit, so no one ever ratted. We'd be questioned or threatened with severe action or punishment, but no one ever broke it. It was honestly magnificent. Cadia stands before the rising tyrant.
Sic semper tyrannis!
It might seem like we were being mean, and honestly, if you weren't there, you might not understand, but we were all 18 or 19-year-olds who every single day had to bear witness to constant brain-dead ramblings and tantrums. She had more tantrums about the most stupid shit, but hopefully the next story sheds a bit more light on just how bad it was to see her daily. Guys, it gets worse. It gets worse with each passing word I read. So every Friday we had class with a teacher called Steve. Now Steve was an alright guy, decent teacher, and had a ton of patience during our first lesson with him. He let slip he was a professionally trained artist. Now, he was talking about architectural style or fine art. I don't know. He never showed us. But Roszina immediately butted in and asked him if he did fan art. He responded he wasn't that kind of artist. And she spent the next 10 to 15 minutes talking about how she's a fan artist and an animator, and if she could commission Steve to do fan art for her. He politely listened to her and shut all her requests down. Then eventually we got back on track. Then Friday rolls around and immediately she asked him if he's a fan artist and if he could do fan art for her if she commissioned him. He once again told her no very politely and let her ramble without any challenge. Then eventually we started the lesson half an hour late. This cycle continued for the next few weeks and months, and somewhere between all this, she started asking about his family and if she could meet them, and tons of other questions that really obviously disturbed Steve and made him uncomfortable. But he tried to stay nice, and eventually he started pointing out she was just asking the same questions every week and getting the exact same answers and holding up the class for about half an hour each lesson in an attempt to get her to stop. But it just continued until one day he snapped. And I'm not talking about him being a little annoyed. I mean a full-on breakdown. Calm, patient Steve heard the constant deluge of repeated identical questions one day, and he'd had enough. If I remember correctly, it had been months and he didn't just put up with it in class. We were pretty sure she harassed him in the hallways too, and he broke as she started the usual line of questioning. He snapped at her, told her every week she asked the same questions over and over and over again, and every answer was always the same. He would never do her fan art, she was never going to meet his family, etc, etc. Dude was genuinely stressed, like pulling at his hair, rocking in his seat, frantic eyes. It's been some time, so I can't remember too many of the finer details, but imagine a generic breakdown, and you probably got exactly what happened. We were all shocked. I remember me, Michael, and Henrik were just kind of exchanging looks of shock and awe because we never expected anything quite this spectacular. Eventually, Steve vents as much as he can, and he just left the classroom to calm down, and Roszina just started crying. Jesus fucking Christ. No, seriously, I cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. Jesus fucking Christ of Nazareth and all of the fucking saints in Christendom. We were all a little in shock because our teacher just flipped his shit silly style, then ditched the lesson before it even started, and now Roszina's crying and telling us her feelings are hurt, and Steve was being mean with absolutely zero introspection. The thought that this was all her fault never even crossed her mind. She reminds me a lot of the lolcow Cyrax. Ironic she got outed as a pedophile too, so naturally, after a few moments of her doing this woe is me act, we kinda come to and just start clowning on her because she genuinely thinks Steve was out of line. I wish I still kept in contact with the guys from class because the finer details of that day deserve the admiration they deserve. There were other things she used to do as well, so every day she would come in wearing the same clothes. I'm pretty sure she almost never changed. She used to talk about her period. Can't remember the details, but it was gross and she was constantly greasy. Her hair took on this gross clumpy quality, and after she dyed it red, we started a joke. It was dyed with period blood. The local college coomer once tried to hit on her. The greasy masturbators, so named cause me and my mate once heard the sounds of someone violently masturbating in the college toilet. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Oh my god, bro. I should not be laughing at this, but I am fucking. Oh my god. Because me and my mate once heard the sounds of someone violently masturbating in the college toilets. He was so loud, the friend who almost had her phone stolen could hear this guy from the main hallway. And he was the only other guy who went in there. And she was too autistic to understand and just started lore dumping about Splatoon to him. I have a picture of him trying to chat her up. I sent him a group chat at the time. Me, my friend, and Roszina were in the same math class, and we were sat right behind her. And she used to glare at us. Eventually, she started calling my friend, who never interacted with her, my cronies. And she would go on and on about cronies like my friends were a gang I would send after her. However, 90% of my friends never actually interacted with her. She just hated them because they were friends with me. She once complained to the head of the department that we were committing violence against her by saying Iron Kid was shit in the hallways. Because all you had to do was just casually say it, and she would storm all the way down the hallway and start shouting at you that it wasn't shit and actually it was very good. Despite how often she would pretend to champion autistic rights and talk about how she deserves special consideration because of her disabilities, she was constantly getting into fights and arguments with other autistic and special needs people because she never gave them any kind of consideration when she talked about autistic people. She meant her and only her because she is special and precious and different, and none of you matter as much as she does. Oh my god, this I'm at a loss for words, guys. I also have a small confession to make. Oh boy, I wonder what's gonna be. During lockdown, we were secluded in our houses for months, and at this point, we learned a lot about what kind of person she was. Bullying people offline, treating the autistic and mentally challenged members of her server like shit. And so eventually we had a mission. I personally was responsible for the termination of the Iron Kid fan film server. Holy shit! We just got a revelation! We just got a major fucking revelation! Jesus Christ! We got breaking news, you guys.
This is breaking news from Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
I played 5D chess and inserted myself as a member of the community and also as one of the raiders. We were trying to expose that Roszina was the one bringing raiders into the server to make herself seem like the victim. That's how they kept on getting into the server, even after the lockdown. Because if you check the link, they were joining with it. It would have said it was generated by Roszina Head herself. My planted account was genuinely nice to the people and even protected a few people from Roszina's rampage. One example was an autistic kid who wasn't even a native English speaker, but Roszina was bullying him because his autism annoyed her. Oh, so she's a racist! She's a racist! Okay! Okay, I like what I'm hearing now. I can't believe it. My plant account asked for the mods to publicize the join list so people would see it was all Roszina causing all the raids. But I didn't realize how deep the corruption went. Not one of the moderators ever questioned her, and Roszina refused to show the list knowing it would out her. Eventually, we realized nothing was ever gonna change, so we just kept spamming until eventually they raged and shut the server down. Better there be no server at all than a server under Roszina's control. See this? Her actions show how completely stupid and irresponsible she is as a server owner. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, then you shouldn't be running a Discord server. Period. A little off topic, but I just got reminded she also tried stealing one of my mate's switches a week after trying to steal the phone. And that's when we basically shunned her out of the comment room. Oh my god. She hasn't learned shit, has she? My god! My friend also told me she made a bunch of quirky art posters for a project in her art class, and Roszina either tore them down or had the teachers do it because she didn't like them. Oh my god. How much of an entitled bitch? Actually, no. Bitch isn't even the proper word to describe this pathetic excuse for a woman. How much of an entitled cunt do you have to be to take down other people's hard work simply because you don't like it? You're a fucking horrible person, and I'm glad that consequences came for you, because people like you are the living embodiment of evil. Basically, after she stopped her from stealing her phone, she told the teachers it was actually a bullying campaign meant to deliberately confuse and distress her, because she said my friend had a grudge against her and had tried to steal her phone in the past, even though it was the other way around. Also, more recently, she's been seen constantly attending cinemas for kids' films. That makes certain things make way too much sense. That puts a lot of things in perspective. Me and the previously mentioned friend from math class went to watch the first showing of The Boy and the Heron in cinemas and ran into her there by herself. Coincidentally, she sat on one of the rows almost directly behind us, and we could hear her heavy breathing the entire film. When we left the theater, she ended up noticing us and tried to walk over asking if she knew us from college, and we just walked away without saying anything as fast as we can. Yikes! Dude. So basically what I'm getting from that sentence is basically a wild Roszina Head has appeared. I don't know what else to say in that situation, but I feel like this whole situation pretty much activated your fight or flight mode. So, like, when you're in fight or flight mode, especially when you're encountering someone like that, there's only one thing I can advise you to do. Run. Run for your fucking life. About a week later, two of my friends went to see the film, and the girlfriend of my mate ended up talking to her, not knowing who she was, and they had to hold back laughter the whole time. Then in the movie, she sat between a group of kids and a mother with a baby, and my friends reported that she started staring when the woman tried to breastfeed her kid. Okay, I quit. Oh my god. What the fuck did I just read? Oh my god. Dude, I can't believe I just actually fucking read that, man. These have got to be some of the weirdest and cringiest life experiences I've ever read. I did not think I'd end up having to make a whole fucking update about this person 2 years later after I'd already spoken out about her. But alas, here I am. Either way, thank you for listening to the shit show. I would like to give a major shout out to Dondi Baker, otherwise known as Corvian, for providing me with all this outstanding information. Like, that tells me exactly what kind of person Roszina Head is. When you have someone who knows you personally and they tell other people about how much of a piece of shit you are, you already know you are F-U-C-K-E-D fucked. Well, that's gonna be the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm hoping and praying to God and Jesus and every other divine power in the Christian religion that this is gonna be the last time I ever have to make an update about this person. But if anything else happens, I will definitely let you know. This has been your host, Rhapsody, and I will see you guys next time. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and stay blessed, and of course, stay sexy. Peace.